Let me know when you're ready.
3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody, this is Victor. I'm here with a student of mine, Chris. We're going to be talking about his recent real estate journey. We already did a case study with him months and months ago about like how he got 2 deals under contract. Now he's fixed and flipped those deals, actually closed them, which is exciting. We're going to be talking about how Chris on his last flip made about $22K net profit and just sharing his journey so far. How are you doing?
Victor, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good. It's pretty early here and it's pretty early there, but just worked out for both our schedules. We're both busy, so appreciate you hopping on here.
Yeah, I definitely overslept on you for about 15 minutes. My apologies.
You're good. You're good.
I don't get many of these things called days off, so.
You're good. Well, I appreciate you on here. Yeah, I just wanted to share, because I think in the last time we spoke on this case study, like you had 2 deals under contract. You're still working, like you were still under contract, trying to get them closed, trying to purchase them. So just want to do an update, like what happened with those deals. Like let's start with like what happened in terms of like getting them closed. How did that process go? And what did you learn? How was that?
Well, I just, you know what I did? Because again, those are my first 2 deals. I stayed on top of I aggravated the title companies with just me constantly just calling them and getting updates and seeing what's going on. What do they need? Just because people are lazy. Like if something's missing or something needs to get done, they'll send one email, they'll make one phone call, and they just leave it alone. Like I run a car dealership and it's the same way. So like I'm always on top of them, making sure that, hey, you know, do you need anything from me this week? Are we going to meet this closing date? Because when I sold my first house, it was the same thing. Like just constant like run around, not being prepared. So I'm just constantly on top of those companies because, listen, they're busy too. So I'm that pain in the ass that sends 100 emails and makes 100 phone calls to make sure we meet our dates, because I can't miss our dates.
No, spot on. I recommend that approach too. Like even if you're pleasantly persistent, because you got to be on top of these, you know, everybody on like contractors, like hard money, like anybody, you have to be on top of them because something slips through the cracks. Like, oh, well, we can't close today because we forgot this. It's like, no, you didn't tell me this. So I do recommend that proactive thing. Just like you're the one out there. Like if someone doesn't call you back, like you're the one calling them back. That's you know how you see success for sure. So did the first closings you were on top of, did they go smoothly? Did they get extended back? What happened?
No, the first closing, as much as I was on top of them, I think we still missed like 3 closing dates, but it wasn't so much the title company, it was the buyer. The buyer was, okay. Remember, I found that turnkey buyer, that company that just buys low-income area housing for rentals.
Mm-hmm.
And they run a scam too. So like they offer you something, they know they're going to ask for credits. Then they ask for credits when it's time, then you give them the credits. And then right before they were going to close with me, they hit me with, you know, more, you know, asking for more off the house, which the first house was a nightmare. So I just went ahead with it. They bought my second house too, same company. And I told them, you know, do not miss a date. I will keep your deposit this time. Do not miss a date. I'm not taking any more money off the house. This is where we're at. You know, if this is what you're going to do, don't even bother. I actually never even listed the house sold with on MLS. Like I kept it for sale the entire time. And I told them, like, I'm not taking it off the market while we're doing this closing. Like the day we close is the day I'll report it sold. Yeah, so you kind of have to just be proactive with those people.
This is like the sales process, right? So you actually already owned it at that point, and like you already fixed it up and you sold it through them. What about like the closing process, like actually buying it? Like how did that go?
Oh, when I bought the house?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that was really easy. I'm sorry, I didn't. It's a little early.
You're good.
Even with the second deal I did was hard money, and it went pretty smooth. We didn't miss any closing dates for that at all. As long as you stay on top of those guys, they're going to do their job. I didn't have any problems closing on either one of them when I was purchasing it.
Awesome. Okay, so that one's smooth. That's good to hear. What about the renovation? Like, how did that go? What did you learn from that process?
Well, the first house, I definitely did not see what I was supposed to see, but they were, mistakes on my part. I made a really bad hire. Pay attention to who you're hiring, people. Vet them. I ended up having to hire, a couple of different contractors to finish that job. Also, too, the most important thing, utilities. So the first house that I was going to do, I asked if the heat was turned on. They said no, it hadn't been turned on for a little over 2 years. I said, all right, no problem. So eventually, when we needed heat for the guys doing the renovations, I called up to get the permits, going through the proper channels. They would not allow me to hire my own DOT people. I had to go through the city. I had to go through the town, because I had gotten an original quote for about $1,500 to run a new gas line. I went to call for get the permit, and they told me, nope, you have to go through the town. So I had to use them. It was $4,500, or it was $4,500 or five. It was one of those $4,500 or $5,000 to do it.
Yeah.
They would not reconnect a gas line that was over a year old. You have to run new. So I do it virtually. I'm not in my own town. Always ask about those kind of things, because had I had known that prior to buying the house, I could have used that as a negotiation tool to get the house cheaper. Like, hey, it's going to cost me $5,000 to replace the gas line here, split it with me or something. I could have tried to use it to get some more money off the house. So those things you have to understand about where you're investing. Ask those questions. Is my gas line turned on? No. Will the town, reconnect the current line? If not, what is it going to cost? I'll never forget to ask that question ever again in my life, wherever I do a house. That's the first question I'm asking, because it chewed $5,000 worth of my profit, from the house on my first day, so that sucked.
Yeah, unexpected expense. I think that's a really good lesson. Like, really know your local market, like the ordinances and the process, and what you need to do there. Second, what was I going to say? Secondly, if the house has been sitting vacant for a little bit longer, just be wary of those types of things, like the gas lines, plumbing, those sorts of things, that if it sits for longer, then you might have concerns. So you just have to add a little, buffer to your project.
Yeah, those are big ticket items. So, before you close on a house, find out all that information. They definitely.
Spot on. Okay.
There was a house I had not to get off topic, but another one that I looked at. I asked, they had an underground oil tank, and the laws were the laws were different in that town than they are in my own town. I ended up not buying the house because I asked about it, and I'd have to dig it up, and it would have been a mess. And then again, I think I could only go through that town to do so. So it's a lot of quirky things that these little towns can have. You got to pay attention.
No, that's really good. That's really good advice. What about like you mentioned, you made a hiring mistake. I think the first guy you hired was just a dud, and the second guy was really, really good. So what was the difference? What did you learn?
Okay, so it's funny. The second guy that I hired was actually the guy who I got to give me an estimate on the gas line. He didn't know. He was from a different town. He's from a different town, so he didn't know that he wasn't even able to do it, because he lived in a town called Masontown. I was in a town called Charleroi. Yeah. So he kind of went to that place, and he was like, hey, he kind of pointed out some things that were wrong. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I flew out there, and he's like, hey, do you want me to take over this project? I said, no. I said, I need you to start another one. So I sent him to the Masontown house, which was my second project. And, his company was a little bit more established. He was an older guy. He had a family. I asked him more personal questions than, the first time. Because me and you, I don't know if you remember, we discussed the first contractor. He was having girlfriend problems.
Yeah.
that I helped him out with a little bit, and that just turned into a nightmare. The second guy was just, you could tell he was more professional. And he did a great job in the Masontown home, and I still ended up having to send him back to the Charleroi house to actually finish up, just because, no offense to small town people, but it's hard to find good help in some of those small towns. I just couldn't find anybody competent. So I found one guy, and now I just want to use him for everything, just because it took a little longer, but I knew at least I was getting.
But he got it done. That's the thing. Yeah. I remember
quality work. Yeah, he got him done.
Yeah. The first guy, there was a lot of issues. Something happened with his truck, right? Didn't he lose his truck, or something happened?
His truck blew up. And I actually, I actually bought him a truck, a cheap one. I bought him like a $3,500 truck, and we took that off the invoice. So
Yeah. I think that's a good like lesson, like with a lot of these like red flags, so to speak. Like those are red flags. Like if someone has like, if someone's going through something temporarily, that's fine. But that's his basically baseline. That's his life. He's kind of
yeah,
sucking you into his drama vortex there. Like didn't have a truck or like lost it. It was like it was something with. I think there was a couple other things that it was like, geez, you
definitely.
got to get your stuff.
That's too early to even talk about. Like I said, I made a terrible hire, so that's on me.
Gotcha. Okay. So you got the renovation done. And then you list the properties, like you said, you found like a local kind of iBuyer type thing. They ended up buying it. It took a little bit longer on the first one. The second one, you kicked their butt and got it done on time. That's awesome. If you're comfortable sharing, like what were the numbers? What do they like wrap up as on both of them, both your flips?
All right. So the first one was listed at 124. And I ended up at 108. That 108 was the final number on the first place. And again, they asked for a certain amount of credits. I think I was down to 116. And then literally 2 days before closing, they hit me with last minute credits that they wanted.
Yeah.
And I just gave in because I needed to get rid of the property. It is what it is. I was just tired of dealing with it.
Yeah.
So I let it go. The second house was listed at 118, or excuse me. Actually, I think I listed that at 124 and I got 118 for it.
Okay.
Also, too, if anybody's interested, I don't remember the name of the company, but I have it in my email. If you're in a small town area and your house is, you're listing it for 150,000 or less, I might have a turnkey buyer for you. So ask Victor.
Oh,
cool. I'll connect with you. You're not going to get top dollar, but you're going to sell your house in a day, and you don't even have to list it with them. I pitched them the second house. Before I even had it listed up, I pitched them the second house. They told me they were interested. I sent over the pictures, then I listed it. They're a pretty big company based out of Georgia, Sylvan Realty, I think it's called.
Okay.
But they're looking to buy any like low income area housing that they can, charge a rent for. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Well, I mean, you got it sold. You made a profit on the last one, so that's good.
Yeah.
Made a good profit. So, I know they kind of beat you up on price, but you got it sold and you did well. That's good.
Well, the second house, I knew there wasn't that much profit margin as the first one anyway. But yeah, the first one, they definitely beat me up on, but I was so sick and tired of that house. I didn't even care. It had to go.
I think the thing that's, because I've been in that situation before where I'm a lot more like flexible, lenient with the property. You just got to know what you have. If you have a gem and you have a golden nugget, like it makes sense, like really fight for the highest price. If like you've made some mistakes and made some errors and like you have like a turd, basically, like, okay, let's just get rid of it. It doesn't make sense to deal with it.
Yeah, I was okay netting something small with the first one. It was the project took 3 months too long because of my terrible hiring skills. So I was okay letting that go. I did not care.
Yeah,
definitely not.
Absolutely. Okay, so you've done these 2 flips, which is awesome. There's basically like your first real flips, I guess, is like a good way to put it.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about it? Like, I know you went through some hurdles. Like, are you like, hey, I'm going to give up, never do flips again? Are you going to do more flips in the future? How are you feeling about the entire thing?
No, and it actually excited me. Like I'm dying to get into my third one, just because with everything that I learned in the first one, which we didn't even go over everything, just that one little, the gas line problem. I ran into more problems than that. So I'm eager to get into my third one because I'm not going to make those mistakes again. So I'm going to be able to maximize my next deal, profit wise. So I'm dying to get into a third one. My life right now has not allowed me to really dive in.
I got you. But
I'm not a full timer yet.
Not yet.
Eventually I would love to do that, but yeah, no, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get into my third one as soon as I can find one. That's for sure.
Awesome. Cool. And then like with that in mind, how have I been throughout the process? Have I been helpful? Would you recommend others work with me as well?
Of course, extremely. I even annoy Victor sometimes too, because I vox for him. I vox for him too much stuff sometimes. Yeah, very responsive, definitely helpful. Without a doubt, I wouldn't be in the position that I am with the things that I learned without Victor. He's pretty on point. He helps me with the ARV a lot, because for some reason too, the last couple times I've tried to run an ARV, even you said some of them have been a little all over the map. Like I had to call a realtor, whereas the first couple deals you and I did, we were right on the, we were right on point with our ARVs. It's very weird right now. I can't even believe how different things are in 6 months with that kind of thing. So yeah, I've definitely bothered Victor one too many times about helping with an ARV, which I shouldn't even need, but it's been a little awkward with these properties that I'm finding, but definitely helpful. Definitely recommend.
I'm here to help, and it's good to like hear from you. It's like, and check in, make sure you're on point. So you can't ever bother me too much, even if you're hitting me up every day. That's that's fine. But that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. Well, awesome. And then why should someone like listening take action now?
Because scared money doesn't make money. It's an old adage. Hop on.
Yeah, I like it. Cool. Well, good enough. I still appreciate you hopping on here, like sharing your story, sharing your journey. You got these 2 flips done. That's awesome. Working on your 3rd one. Just making it happen. We've been together. Yeah, it's been like 6 months or so. Like, hasn't been that long. But still you've done a ton.
It's actually been almost a year.
Oh, has it?
The guy, yeah, almost. The guy, I have to go look at that deal. It's the guy you went to go talk to for me about that other place we were going to JV. He sent me something else that I got to look into.
Cool.
He said that actually you told me told the guy to send it over to me. So hopefully I can look at something else in Gainesville.
We'll check it out. Yeah, for sure.
Cool. I will let you know.
Cool. Appreciate it. Well, anything else you want to share? Anything else on your mind about the entire process?
Nope. That's about it.
Cool. Appreciate it. Thanks for hopping on here. Thanks for sharing your story. And yeah, until next time.
All right, Victor. Thank you.